So I made a poll asking you guys if I should make a video on DE support team, and I got an overwhelmingly positive response, so I guess I have to make the video now. Now on the poll I posted, I had some great tips that led me to investigate them, and we'll talk about some of those later. I'll be honest, I really don't like making these kinds of videos, but this is starting to piss me off. Today we're going to talk about DE support team, mainly their Zendesk team, but we'll talk about the other ones too. Personally, I feel they are dragging DE's goodwill through the mud. A lot of the drama I see nowadays involves this mistake this team made and isn't willing to fix, and their actions seem very spiteful, and often they don't take context into account at all, and if they did, they wouldn't get such a bad rep. Recently, there was a content creator by the name of Summit who got banned for a Riven. Now, let's take a look at this Riven. What's the first thing you notice about this Riven? Well, it's fake. And it's very obvious that it's fake. Anyone who plays the game knows that the game doesn't display numbers that way. And even without that, the bonuses are ridiculous. 153,900% crit chance and 136,900% crit damage, but only 13.7% damage to infested. This wasn't the only picture he posted. Let's look at the next one. Now this is proof that he is quote unquote hacking, if the joke wasn't obvious enough. And you don't need to know code to know that something isn't right with this image. I'll give you a second to read it. First thing that stands out to me is it's not even in the right programming language. Warframe uses Lua as its programming language of choice, and this is in Python. But that aside, we don't have a system in the game that needs to differentiate the difference between being online and being in-game. And even if we did, why would Rivens need to check if you're online or not? You know what does need to check if you're online or not? Warframe Market, because that's exactly what the screenshot is. It's Warframe Market's API or API scrape or whatever. They also banned him for invalid loadouts / duplicate mods, aka the glitch where you get negative mod capacity. And here's the thing with that. If you played Warframe in the last 2 to 3 years, you've probably stumbled across that bug accidentally. It's happened to just about everyone. The only thing Summit did different was realize that when you have negative mod capacity, mod restrictions don't apply, so you can apply Fever Strike and Prime Fever Strike on the same weapon. But the thing is, items with negative mod capacity don't actually apply the mods to them in-game. If you were to use anything with negative mod capacity, it will function as if it's unmodded, so you don't even get the benefit of having no mod restrictions at all. He goes into more detail about this in his own video, but that got me thinking, what does actual hacking look like in Warframe? And well, this is it. The thing that stands out to me is how laughably useless they are. Wall hacks? Aimbot? Damage hacks? Imagine being so lazy that you would actually consider cheating in Warframe. Now, comparing his Riven video to the hack video, on the surface it looks like a damage hack. But if you start pausing the video and reading the damage numbers, 34 damage, 6 damage. You're crazy if you think a damage hack is going to let you deal only 6 damage. What about the end of his video where he gets negative damage numbers? And anyone who's fought the Eidolons in the early days noticed this immediately, but this is shield disruption post nerf. If you try to go over 100% of shield removal, this happens. You get crazy negative damage numbers and you just end up healing the enemy. And with just a little bit of analysis, we can instantly tell that obviously isn't cheating. It didn't even take that long. It begs the question, does DE support team even play the game? It's honestly a safe bet to say that they don't, because it would save them a hell of a lot of time with accusations like these. Imagine getting reported for a meme and then DE support team taking it at face value. That's why I was never interested in the partner program to begin with. They take accusations at face value, so if someone really didn't like you, they could report you and say something like you called a new player stupid and then show a screenshot of a completely unrelated tweet or something like that, and you would get removed. And that's exactly what happened to Faustinator. He got removed from the Gods of the Lotus, and someone reported him for exactly that. And the evidence used against him was a Twitter reply to AGGP about politics. Now, I wanted to have the exact tweet on screen, but I couldn't find it because Faustinator took his video down again. I asked him about it. He said he knew a guy that might have it. He didn't have it, so I'm sorry. This is about politics. It has absolutely nothing to do with Warframe or its new player base at all. And if that wasn't enough, they were going to fix it. They rescinded his offer to let him back into the Guides of the Lowest program out of spite because he made a video telling his story, which isn't very smart if you think about it, because it makes them look even worse. Now, if you think that story was bad, we're only getting started here. One of you guys tipped me off to a former content creator by the name of Waifu Short. Apparently, she lost access to her founder's account and DE wouldn't do anything to fix it, but it's actually much worse than that. I was told that she had a video on the whole situation, so I looked for it, but when I arrived at her channel, all the Warframe videos we made were gone. So what any good YouTuber would do while looking for answers, I went to the source and I asked her. I wasn't expecting her to reply to me so soon, let alone get out of bed to give me the actual video. I kind of asked her at a weird time, so big thanks to her for doing that for me. Real help. Anyways, she didn't just forget her password or email or whatever. DE straight up deleted her account. Not even a ban, just deletion. Gone. No trace of it. She was a Grandmaster founder, meaning she paid $250 for Excalibur Prime, Skana Prime, and she's one of the few people to have Lado Prime. So she submitted a support ticket, and the only reply she got was that her account didn't exist, which no shit, her account doesn't exist. It got deleted. That's the problem we're trying to fix. She even provided bank statements to prove that not only her account existed, but she was a founder of the highest tier. But DE support team wasn't having any of that, and they decided to ignore her after a while. And I'd be really upset if out of nowhere my account was gone, let alone a founder's account. She eventually made a new account, but she has since stopped uploading Warframe content, and to be honest, I don't even blame her. What DE did to her was unacceptable. Since she was a Grandmaster founder, I was curious if her name would show up on the solar landmark in the relays. I asked if she remembered the name of the account, but she didn't see my message in time for this video. But I checked anyways, looking for a name that resembled Waifu Shork, and nothing. Now, as I was waiting, I got a little bit impatient and looked online to see if there was another place where all the Grandmaster founders' names were written down, so I didn't have to wait for her name to appear. But as I was looking, I was horrified to find out that there are more founders that had the same thing happen to them. The thing they all had in common is that they all took a break right before their account got deleted. Of course, Warframe support didn't do anything, despite one of the users still being able to log into the website, and it showed that his account was 5 years old. DE support is great when it comes to fixing silly issues, but when it comes to actual serious issues, they fuck off into the darkness. I couldn't think of a reason why DE would do this to a founder, no less. And then I remember someone tipped me off about DE support staff being paid only a little bit over minimum wage. So that got me thinking, maybe they literally can't afford to care. So I went over to the website, and they just so happened to be hiring for a community/customer support specialist. And the salary for the position was $36,000 a year. Now, I wasn't sure if this was in US dollars or Canadian dollars, but if it is in US dollars, that's roughly $18 an hour US and $23 an hour Canadian. And that's about average for that position. And living wage is about $17.99, almost $18 an hour-ish in Ontario. So it seems that that's a pretty good deal, but that completely changes if that $36,000 is Canadian, which ends up being $27,000 a year in US dollars, and that's about $13.52 per hour, or $18 an hour Canadian, which is on the low side for the position, but still within living wage in Ontario, Canada. Minimum wage in Ontario is about $14 an hour Canadian. So yes, they do get paid a little over minimum wage, but it's not the worst ever to the point where it would excuse this behavior. Now, a small disclaimer, these numbers are rough estimates and not exact numbers, as none of these numbers take into account taxes at all. I also don't live in Canada, so I don't know for sure if these numbers are good or bad or how their economy works at all. So any Canadian citizens, feel free to correct me about this in the comments. But from my understanding, they aren't underpaid, but then again, with game studios comes crunch, so their salary might not be telling the whole story. I did some snooping on Glassdoor, because they have job postings there as well, and Glassdoor also lets you leave reviews that cannot be removed by the company at all. I read some reviews, some negative, some positive, and a trend I noticed is that from 2017 and earlier, the general consensus was management was awful, which coincidentally fits the time period of when Waifu Shork's account suddenly disappeared around late summer of 2017. There was one review with a headline of "lots of potential but people get in the way," which even to this day still seems to be true, and even more so for volunteer staff. About 3 to 4 weeks ago, there was a Chinese volunteer translator by the name of Teachy 12, I think that's how you pronounce it, who was recently fired for breaking NDA and assaulting staff, which is a big deal for a game company. But here's the problem. The evidence stacked against him were tweets he made before he signed the NDA. According to a Reddit post on the topic, the tweet was made about Crowdin, which is the translation platform of choice for DE. And the insult was someone heard him muttering to himself that the translation looks like it was done by a machine, that's a pretty mean insult for a translator, but he apologized for that comment ages ago. So it looks like they were just trying to find a reason to fire him. It's almost like they made him sign the NDA and then immediately went,
"Ladies and gentlemen, we got him."
I would encourage him to sue, but I don't know if Canada has laws against wrongful termination. He was well liked by the Chinese community and they were very unhappy to see him go. And as a result, Warframe got review bombed on Steam. And these aren't just Chinese players who made Steam accounts to give it a negative review. No, these are players who have played for thousands of hours. Now you might be thinking, why don't they just play the Chinese version instead of the global version translated to Chinese? Well, let's see. Let's go through their website and they're on Fortuna Part 1. Do you really want to be a year behind when this shit's coming soon? Yeah, no thanks. Now, Mugamo has a video going into this in more detail, so you might be wondering, why am I making this video? Is it to shame DE for the wrongdoings? No, it's more of a warning. I'm showing you guys all this because it doesn't make any sense. It's quite the stark contrast to go from an honest, open, and friendly development team to banning content creators for memes, deleting people's accounts for no reason, taking accusations against trusted community members at face value, the overall poor treatment of trusted community members, and holding players' accounts for ransom, which is a thing they do. The problem I have with that last one on the list is I don't understand why they're doing it from a business perspective, but why not punish the people who actually bought the platinum instead of everybody who traded with said person? Even if there is a negative balance issue, just dump it all on the one player who actually bought the platinum and make it more clear that there's a punishment for buying third-party platinum. The only reason third-party platinum even has a market is due to ignorance. A lot of new players don't know that login discounts are a way better deal than actually buying third-party platinum, and the only ones that even come close are buying Steam packs off of G2A, which was the go-to method about like 2 to 3 years ago, I want to say, before platinum discounts became more popular. There's no way of knowing if platinum is third party or not when you're trading with someone, so I don't know why you would punish players for this. Side note, I actually got asked by a third-party seller to do a sponsored video, and they spammed me with 7 different email accounts until I finally replied to them. I told them about how DE bans players for third-party platinum and how taking the sponsorship would be a lose-lose situation for both of us. And they replied with, yeah, there might be some risk.
You're a stupid cunt, suck my dick.
If they ever contact me again, I'll dedicate an entire video to them and why they're fucking garbage. Anyways, I can easily see a new player making his first trade and it being with someone who bought third-party platinum and getting his account suspended until he pays off the negative balance, all because he used an in-game mechanic that everyone else uses. Will that player likely return to do so? Hell no. That player likely isn't going to play again. Now, originally I thought Titanfall YouTuber Throthium fell victim to the same thing, because immediately after he made this tweet, he stopped talking about Warframe, he stopped streaming Warframe, there was no trace of him playing Warframe at all, which I found a little strange. So I asked him if DE actually unbanned him, and they did. What they banned him for was attempted account hijacking. In other words, someone's tried to log into his account from a different IP. Now, instead of this triggering two-factor and sending you an email saying that you need to make a new password for your account, DE just IP bans the account, which is strange, because according to them, they call it locking down the account, but IP banning and locking an account's login is two separate things. And I don't know why they don't explain this better. With that said, will anything change after this video? Probably not. DE does have that line in their terms of service that states they reserve the right to ban you for any reason, but let's be honest, that's just a legal excuse. DE support team isn't perfect, but everyone knows this. But DE, please understand, you might not realize this, and you may feel like you're underpaid or overworked or you don't get enough recognition or whatever that may be, but know that a lot rests on your shoulders. Helping other players with tools that only you can use is a very important job. It's just like sound design in movie production. If you don't hear about it from the community, you're doing a good job, because that's how you know it fits and flows seamlessly. So please take the extra time to care before you do things like this. You need to understand the full weight of your actions, because from where you sit, you can single-handedly drag down this company. I don't mean just hurt them from a reputation standpoint. I mean, you could hurt them financially. You saw how many players from China left. I wonder how much money they lost from that, because they're not there buying platinum or buying cosmetics from the game. It's really sad to see some of DE's own staff just abuse their power and punish people for no reason or out of spite just because. To be honest with the way DE's been treating the community lately, I wouldn't be surprised if they just upright and ban me just out of spite. I'd be upset, but I wouldn't be surprised, and that's just the problem we have right now. Anyway, guys, that's all for me. That's just my thoughts on DE. I just wanted to get that off my chest, because I feel like this has just been a trend of it just keeps happening and happening, and nothing is being done about it. I just felt like I had to say this. Anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.